Hey guys, welcome to United. Welcome to another video. And Barcelona 1, Real Madrid 3, and we've lost the first Clasico of the season by 3-1. And I'm annoyed. I'm annoyed by losing this game. Not that there was anything particularly wrong with the game itself. I thought the game was actually very interesting from both teams. Both props to Barcelona and Real Madrid. I think they did a pretty decent job. The game was, had continuity. It was interesting. It was end to end. Until the refereeing did something that I didn't agree with, and I'm sure that most of you guys are going to agree with, and that is the penalty call. But I'm going to leave that aside for the discussion. But let's start with the lineups and then let's get into the game. Barcelona out to go with Neto in net, Serginho Dest, Gerard Piqué, Clement Lenglet, and Jordi Alba in defense. A midfield of Sergio Busquets and Frenkie de Jong. 3 number 10s in Pedri, Lionel Messi, and Felipe Coutinho. And up top, Ansu Fati. While Real Madrid up to go with Thibaut Courtois in net, Nacho, Varane, Ramos, and Ferland Mendy in defense. A midfield trio of Casemiro, Fede Valverde, and Toni Kroos. And up top, Vinicius, Marco Asensio, and Karim Benzema. Alright, let's get into the game. Let's first discuss how we were coming from the game. We were arriving after a defeat against Getafe and a win against Ferencváros midweek in the Champions League. And Real Madrid had lost against Cádiz 1-0 and 3-2 against Shakhtar in the Champions League. I was seeing a lot of people very confident that we are actually going to dominate Real Madrid, that we were going to that they were coming in such bad form, and that we were not being spectacular, but we were doing much better than them. And this is a lesson for all of people that were thinking that, because it annoys me a bit that people are thinking that, because we should know by now, unless you're watching football you haven't watched much football and you don't know, maybe you might think that's logically, yeah, that makes kind of sense. But everyone that has been watching football for a while knows that every El Clasico is a different world, and it doesn't matter your form. It doesn't matter, it doesn't matter really what happens, because every El Clasico is a different story. It has a different story to tell. The outcome is always going to be different. It's not going to be what you expect most of the time. A team can be arriving after winning 10 games and play that game exactly their worst game, or just get defeated and battered. Or they could be playing their worst game for a while and arrive to the game and be the best team in the world. Not that any team today was the best team in the world. I think that both teams are, lacking in certain areas. But I thought generally in between lines, the game was fairly interesting. Like, we saw good performances from both teams. I think that Barcelona had to say, until the game was leveled, until the game was actually, in my opinion, fair, which was until a penalty call, I thought that Barcelona were slightly better because we created more chances than them. But the problem is that, and this is a situation, yes, I think the penalty call was a bit too exaggerated, or it was too soft of a penalty call for me. But saying that, we had chances to kill the game off, or at least to be in the lead comfortably by 2 or 3 goals, and we missed them. Coutinho had the header, then after the Fati goal, he had to pass to Messi that he missed, and Messi would have unleashed the ball to Ansu Fati. Ansu Fati had a shot that went wide. We had chances to kill the game off, and we didn't. There was also people asking social media to get Casemiro sent off and a penalty for Barcelona because he stepped on Messi. And I'm gonna say that normally Casemiro is a player that deserves yellow cards, and like most games he shouldn't be finishing the games because of the fouls that he does. But in that situation, you have to understand that he went for the ball and he got the ball first, and then just happens to be that he happens to step on Messi, but like he got the ball first, and for me, it wasn't a penalty. Now, could it be given as a penalty? Maybe technically, it would have been extremely soft. And this is the thing. It's not that. Let's look at the ruling, okay? For you guys doubting if it's able to be a penalty or not. Is it able to be a penalty call? Lenglet is holding Sergio Ramos by the shirt. Is it okay if it's a penalty? By the ruling, yes, it can be a penalty. Now, you have to analyze the whole play, not just that. The thing is that I know because of VAR, he's watching that a lot, and the thing that stands out the most is Lenglet holding the shirt of Ramos. Now, the difference is that Ramos, before Lenglet starts holding his shirt, is pushing Lenglet out of the way, and Lenglet just wants to keep Ramos close to him, but he's pushing him twice, which, would have been a foul in attack, giving the ball to Barcelona. And let's, forget that Ramos didn't do that and like eventually committed the penalty. That action happens every game. In every game. At least once or twice per game, if not more. And you don't see a penalty call in every game because of that. It's perfectly normal. It's not extremely forced. There was not a lot of force used in that play. Like, it's very soft. And the problem is that if you call that, then every game we need to see a penalty because of that. Every time that happens, every time that we see someone grab the shirt of someone else in the penalty area, it's a penalty now. Because that's the bar that you've set up. The bar is too low now. And obviously it's not going to happen. We're not going to see penalties every day because of that. But that's the problem. That the judgment needs to be unified. Because you cannot say, today I want to call a penalty, and tomorrow I won't call a penalty for the exact same thing. And there's a problem. I know that judgment is very difficult to call, because everyone has a different thought of how things are. But there are some things that need to be as close as possible to the ruling, and also as close as possible to the interpretation of the game. The game is tied at 1-1. You give a penalty as soft as that, you're giving Real Madrid a lead where they were starting to struggle in the game because they were not creating any different chances. Barcelona were growing into the game. Maybe subs would have come in earlier, and maybe things would have been different. And I know there is a lot of maybes in here, but that's the thing. Once they score the goal, Real Madrid know that they can sit back. They can be very comfortable with the ball. They don't need to look for a goal. So they can comfortably just, work. If they work their way up, then fine. If not, they can hold the ball. They can be solid in defense. And that's the end of that. And that's when the game was lost for Barcelona, because we tried to go forward. We were unable to. Subs came in far too late for Ronald Koeman. That's the only thing that I can criticize Koeman today, is for not bringing in subs earlier. I'm not saying sub Pedri off at halftime, but subs need to come earlier, far earlier. In the 60th minute, both Coutinho and Pedri off. Pedri had a not very good game. He didn't participate much, just like Griezmann hasn't participated much in that side. Coutinho did a bit more, but not a lot. He didn't have a bad game, but he didn't have a great game either. But both of them at 60 minutes should come off. One for Dembélé, one for Trincao, or one for whatever, and then Griezmann, whatever you want. But they needed to come on. We needed pace. We needed electricity. We needed to cause Lucas Vázquez and Ferland Mendy more problems that we already had. Dest and Alba were growing into the game. Dest today was fantastic. Did some plays that were absolutely fantastic today. Jordi Alba, in terms of understanding the match, was really good. Fitness-wise, it seems like he's still a bit off. He's been injured for a while, so it's understandable, and hoping that he's going to grow into that and that's going to be worked within the next few weeks. But he was going into the game. Tactically, he understood what we needed. He's, Jordi Alba. He's one of the best fullbacks in the world. He didn't have his best season last season, but normally this is what we can expect of Jordi Alba. Constant there down that side, connected well with Messi. Frenkie de Jong today was better than Sergio Busquets. I see a lot of criticism towards Sergio Busquets. I don't understand why. Like, yes, in the goal for Valverde, it's a mistake of Busquets. He should have followed Valverde, but at the same time, it's also Lenglet's fault because he should have also followed Valverde, and either of them did. Yet I only see criticism for Sergio Busquets. Other than that, I thought that in the press he helped us. He was the leader of the press. In some actions, he was important doing tactical fouls that we needed to do. I wouldn't say that he stood out amazingly, but he didn't do a bad job either. He did what he needed at the very least. I would give him a 7. Like, he passed. He passed in terms of the performance. He passed. Lenglet, I don't want to be too critical on Lenglet, but it's been, against Ferencváros already, he did some things that are not normal of him. And I say this about Lenglet because I know what he's capable of, and he's a very competent centre back. But today he had a bit of problems. Not that he did bad already, but he had one or two decisions that I didn't understand what he was doing. Piqué was solid. He completely, between him and Benzema and Vinicius were nowhere to be seen, which, it's true that they were in their best. They didn't have their best games, but they were spectacular. They completely shut them down, which was really good to see. Ansu Fati in the first 15 minutes of the game was electric, was very good, but then, he kind of disappeared off the game. And Lionel Messi in the first half was very, very good. This is probably his best game, together with that Celta Vigo game, where he was involved in pretty much everything that we were doing in the first half. But then, you can say both ways, that the team died because Messi slowed down, or Messi slowed down because the team energy-wise just dropped down. Like, in second half they kind of tried to do what they did in the first half, but they didn't do it with the same amount of energy and intensity. And that's where, I think that subs would have given, vitality to this team, something that we didn't get. In terms of Real Madrid, although I criticize Sergio Ramos a lot, and I think defensively he's nothing special, and actually he's a calamity a lot of times in defense. You can see that the morale of Real Madrid is a lot more solid with Ramos in the team. Fernandes today was pretty decent. Nacho was having problems with Jordi Alba. Came off with an injury for Lucas Vázquez. Varane was alright. Courtois was pretty good. Oh, by the way, Courtois and Neto, very, very good today. Neto, okay, had one or two things that could have been better, but overall he did some amazing saves. Same with Courtois. Courtois had a fantastic save from Lionel Messi. Messi cuts Ramos, leaves him to dust, and puts the ball in the far corner. He must have been 3 meters out of the goal. Shoots it right to the post, and Courtois gets down so quickly and makes a fantastic save. That has to be one of the best saves I've seen this year, let alone this season. That's what I mean. Like, this is the kind of games that if you forgive chances, if you have chances and you to put them away, things like this can happen. Because if we would have been winning if we would have been 2-1 or 3-1 by the time they call the penalty, then it's not such a big problem. Problem is that you start missing chances and chances and chances, and when eventually the other team gets a chance, either by refereeing decisions or by their own merit or because of your own fault, then this is where problems have. They took their chances, we didn't. Real Madrid didn't play bad, but and I'm not going to say they didn't deserve to win the game, but we didn't deserve to lose this game either. I think that a draw would have been fair. Maybe a 2-2 draw, a 1-1 would have been more fair in my opinion. The 3-1 comes for, we were looking for the game, we were going all out attack, and Modric just, takes Neto out of the equation and puts the ball in the back of the net. Perfectly fine. Other than that, it is what it is. We did what we could. The attitude from the team was good, I want to say. It was not bad. I am hoping to see more. We are now in the back foot. We have a game in hand against Real Madrid. They have 13 points. We have 7. If we win our next game, we will be 3 points behind them. Both teams are going to struggle in Europe this season. And in La Liga, if Sevilla can continue this really good run of form that they've been in, like generally their play is very, very good competitively. Like they showed that against Chelsea in the Champions League midweek. If I was Sevilla or Atletico Madrid, I would be focusing myself and trying to convince myself that Barcelona and Madrid are not going to do 90 points this season. They might even do about 80 points during the season. And that's a points tally that for both those two teams is very, very reachable. We'll see. We'll see what's going to happen. We have to visit Turin. We're going to be without Piqué for that game. And it's what it is. Overall, if I had to give who was the heroes and villains for Barcelona, Pedri, it's not his fault. He's 17 and he wasn't good there, but it wasn't his fault. I would have started Trincao or Dembélé. Probably more Trincao because of what he did against Ferenbaros. And our best player, I was probably going to say Messi for the first 4 or 5 minutes. Piqué was pretty good. De Jong had some pretty good passes, good interpretation of the play. For Real Madrid, Toni Kroos, Ferland Mendy, and Thibaut Courtois were pretty important. And that's pretty much it, guys. Leave me your opinions about the El Clasico. What did you think? Do you think that the penalty call was right, that we deserved more out of this game? What are your thoughts going forward for La Liga and for the season overall? Leave me all your opinions in the comment section below. Comment, like, subscribe, and I'll see you next one, Blaugranas.